I'd like to introduce Dave Lorenzo. He's a Naval Academy graduate. He's flown 200 combat missions in Vietnam in the F-8.
Yeah.
And he's spent about 33 years at Delta Airlines, retired as a 777 captain.
Yes, sir.
And so we appreciate you coming on. Dave is a National Naval Aviation Museum volunteer, and he does the narrations, the flight line narrations. When the guests come to the museum, they open up the gates and they have the crowd comes out by the thousands.
Yes, indeed. It's not unusual for us to have 6, 7, 8,000 out there on a practice day in the summer months when the kids are out of school. So it's very, very popular. It's so sad that we've lost the capability to do that this year.
Yeah, it's awful, but that's why we're here. We're trying to make people happy. We want to give them what we can of the 2020 Blue Angels. So we're going to just take a look at these different maneuvers, and Dave, I'm going to leave it to you to just kind of talk through them as we go.
Well, you made it challenging for me because he put them together where they're not in the same sequence that the Blue Angels would fly them in. So that's going to be a little challenge for me. And Dave Vanderlyke speak is a little different than Blue Angel speak. So some of the stuff he wrote down here we had to kind of modify. But yeah, you did good work though. You do great photography too. The Blue Angels, of course, two things. First off, they fly 3 shows. It's going to depend upon what type of clearance they have from the ground to the base of the clouds. 1,500 feet, they can do a flat show. 4,500 feet, they can do a low show, which includes some rolling maneuvers. And of course, 8,000 feet, they can go all the way with the high shows and the overhead maneuvers such as the loops. Visibility needs to be at least 3 miles because these guys have to try and keep each other in sight while they're going. The Blues operate basically as 2 elements. You have a 4-plane formation. These guys are demonstrating to you the tremendous capability of tactical airport or tactical Navy and Marine Corps pilots to be able to fly their high-performance jet in very tight and close formation. And the solos, of course, will operate independently. Those guys will be showing the high-performance characteristics of the legacy F-18. So when these guys get to going, it is an exciting show, and when it's all put together, it is really fun to watch. This will probably be the year that we're not probably going to get to see, I would suspect, any more practices out at the museum. I have a feeling we're probably going to be finished with that for the rest of the year, which is sad. But the good news is the guys are still practicing. And if you're hanging around Navy Point or if you have a capability to get on NAS Pensacola, you can go out and watch them when they practice during the week. So let's go ahead and start a little bit with what you've written down for me. As we mentioned before, the 4-plane takes off in a diamond takeoff. You can watch all 4 of these aircraft here. You need to see the lead has got a number 6 aircraft in this case. And the number 2 aircraft to his right is 2, 3 is to his left, and out there on the right is 4, number 4 as the slot pilot. They'll start their rotation here very shortly, and as the aircraft break ground, number 4 will call gear, and the gear will be retracted. Watch now as number 4 slides his airplane underneath number 2 into a position directly behind the lead known as the slot. And this forms the diamond formation. One thing you got to notice about that too, if you're watching closely, the wings are always parallel to the ground. He does that maneuver strictly with the rudder of the aircraft. Next on the line is the solos takeoff. This is Blue Angel number 5. Watch as he takes his aircraft airborne, and leaving the gear down, he's going to roll 360 degrees to show you the tremendous power of this aircraft. As the takeoff flaps are retracted, the airplane tends to settle, and you can see him recover from that and turn out to the show side left. Blue Angel number 6, the solo, will make a low transition here, as you see. He'll accelerate to about 450 to 500 miles an hour, then you'll watch him pull up the aircraft into a vertical climb up to about 4,500 feet, at which point he'll go ahead and do a maneuver known as an Immelman. It is indeed. Tremendous capabilities these guys have. The next thing we've got is the Diamond Parade Pass that'll be coming up. You'll see them back in the diamond formation as you do now. We want you to notice this is the closest formation that they fly. You're actually looking at about 18 inches of clearance from the wingtips to the canopy as these guys make their pass by in the Blue Angels Diamond Parade Pass. Yeah, it's good tight formation, it sure is. closing knife edge passes, closing over center point at a speed in excess of 800 miles an hour. Watch as they perform the knife edge pass. All that is done together. Each one of those pilots is doing the same thing at the same time on opposite ends of the field. Inverted now, they're going to pass by, as you see, directly over center point again, but this time upside down or inverted, and that's the opposing inverted pass.
It is so hard to fly upside down.
Yeah, it is. Scott, if you'll hold the next one for me just a second. The diamond aileron roll will be coming up next. With the diamond aileron roll, we want you to notice that they'll come through the diamond, they'll spread out just a little bit, and then each pilot's going to roll his aircraft 360 degrees, and they're going to do it at the same time and the same rate of roll. Back when Butch Vora started this team in 1946, they called this a blind roll because the pilots can't see each other while they're performing this maneuver. So trust and confidence is extremely important in the Blue Angels diamond aileron roll.
This is one of my absolute favorite.
Yes, a tremendous amount of coordination and teamwork here. Rolling the aircraft right around its longitudinal axis. He'll say, ready, hit it, and off they go.
Just perfect.
Our solos will be coming back around on the next pass. This time they're going to be doing a maneuver known as fortis, or the mirror image. You'll notice one of them goes inverted while the other one remains upright, and notice they're in the dirty configuration. The landing gear is extended, the landing hook or arresting hook is extended. That's the appurtenance that you see on the tail of the aircraft, and that's what they utilize if they're going to catch a wire on board an aircraft carrier. This is a diamond dirty flat pass. Normally this team would operate this maneuver into a full overhead loop. The only jet exhibition team in the world is able to do this that way. Now you'll see them coming, you see the landing lights are on indicating the gear is down as one of the solos passes in front of them and showing you a little bit higher speed than these guys are maneuvering at right now. Once again, landing gear down, resting hook extended. And directly behind Blue Angel number 5 is going to come across, and he's going to do a minimum radius turn for us to show you the tight turning capability of the F-18 Legacy Hornet. He'll do it within 1/4 of a mile. This is about a 7G maneuver. During this maneuver, if he's a 150-pound guy, he weighs about 1,100 pounds while he's performing this maneuver.
And he's full afterburner for the whole turn.
He's full afterburner for the whole turn, and he's pulling, like I said, about 7 times his weight of gravity.
And no G-suits.
And his recovery. These guys do not wear G-suits, by the way. They have to utilize the muscles in their lower extremities to maintain the blood from flowing into the lower extremities, which would cause them, of course, to black out. We'll put the guys in echelon now. That means they're strung out on the lead wing. You see right echelon. In this particular case, we're back to that really tight formation. Look at the clearance between the wingtips and the canopies, roughly about 18 inches.
Looks like 8, maybe. That is tight.
Dave has captured a couple of sneak passes. If they're going to do a flat or low show, it's normally done on just a turn, but today I think this one is vertical. So let's see. No, this is a flat turn. So this would be on a flat or a low show. We can see where the cloud cover is above him, so he's not able to take the aircraft vertical. This one he will. In this sneak pass, you're going to watch him go into a vertical climb, again up to about 5,500 feet. He found a break in the clouds so he could go through it and get up.
And usually you don't see these guys coming. It's usually a complete surprise.
The sneak pass is the second half of the first half, of course, is the fast pass, where Blue 5 comes from left to right at about 0.94 Mach, 94% the speed of sound. Our solos are going to do a series of opposing horizontal rolls now, once again at a closing speed in excess of 800 miles an hour over center point. If that doesn't give you vertigo, nothing will. From the left front now, we want you to watch the foreplane do the burner 270. You notice the smoke is on right now because they're in basic engine, military power. Very shortly, the boss is going to call for them as they start their turn to call for afterburners. As they light the afterburners, you will notice that the smoke will disappear because it's so hot back there with the burner, it just melts it all, so it's not visible. But at any rate, this is all 4 of those aircraft, each with 2 GE404 engines, each one producing about 17,700 pounds of thrust. So it's an extremely loud maneuver. We like to call it, what you're hearing there, pretty much the sound of freedom.
Who doesn't love that?
Coming from behind the crowd now, our solos side by side. As they pass the center point, very shortly you'll see them do a crossover maneuver called the swallowtail. Now each pilot is going to pull his aircraft into a high G turn, another 670 G turn, and they're going to show you their minimum radius turn, where both of the aircraft are going to come back over center point and pass over at the same time. Center point's extremely important for everything that these guys do, so that's why with the social distancing mandates they had out at the beach, the only thing they would be able to do pretty much is just flat passes by us.
I did want to mention how tough it is to keep these airplanes in frame sometimes when they're moving so
Yeah,
fast.
it's pretty difficult the way they're maneuvering, they're moving. 5 aircraft in the line abreast. This is just a flat pass again because the do the loop. They normally would do a loop in this in a high show, but the line abreast, a difficult formation because the pilots only have one point of reference as they look out either right or left to line up on the next aircraft.
And they do it beautifully.
Yeah, they do it very, very well. Boy, especially when you get into a loop, a very difficult maneuver. Diamond coming from our right now, you'll notice that numbers 1 and 4 are inverted, and the maneuver is known as the double farvel. How about the 4-point hesitation roll? Watch as each pilot turns his aircraft 90, 180, 270, and 360. There's 90, 180, 270, and 360. The 4-point hesitation roll. Left echelon, this is going to just be a flat pass. Normally they would take this into a rolling maneuver, but today with just a flat pass, and immediately after this is when Blue Angel 5 comes roaring down the runway at about Mach 94, 0.94 rather, or 94% the speed of sound.
And this is where you get surprised. Most people are still
You can see
looking
Brandon
at
Hempler now has his jet up to well close to 700, or perhaps a little over 700 miles an hour. And right after that is in the sneak pass is where the number 6 aircraft comes from behind him, directly over center point. One more run through the 4-point hesitation roll. Low brake cross. He's just hit this flight line. Notice he calls brake, ready brake, and all 4 pilots head out in a different direction. Now they're going to go out exactly 1 1/2 miles from center point, at which time they're going to do a course reversal and head back to the center point, passing over that point at the same time, but a different altitude, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, that is known as the low brake cross. Cross part's coming up in just a minute. Again, a tremendous amount of time required for this. As he rolls out, the boss will start calling 1 1/2 miles his speed, then he'll give him 1 mile and his speed. That way they have a pretty good idea where they are in relation to the others. And this one that you filmed, I believe, Dave, they hit it dead on. I think they hit all 4 of them pass over the center point at the exact same time.
Pretty darn close. Boom,
There you go.
Yeah.
And the center point's that white bus that you see underneath them there. Put the airplanes into delta formation. That means they put number 5 out on the left wing of number 3. They put the 6 aircraft out on the right wing of number 2 to form the delta formation, which an awful lot looks like the printed version of the Greek letter delta. And that's why they call that the delta formation. That, by the way, has got their flaps down, and you can see all those curlicues behind the airplane there indicating to you how rough the air is in that area where you can see the smoke coming out of them. Solos do a thing called a tuck over roll. Let's see if we can pick that one up. There. Oh no, that's another, I'm sorry, that's another swallowtail. Yep. Sorry about that one. We're going to do one more swallowtail.
Watch it again.
Yeah, it's a pretty fascinating maneuver. Again, 6-7G pull all the way around to make sure that they cross over center point at the same time again. Now this is the one where they're going to do the tuck over roll. You see, they're in formation, really tight formation.
It looks like one airplane.
When you first see it, it does look like one. He'll call ready, hit it, and there goes the tuck over roll. A little while ago, we saw Brandon Hempler come by at about 0.94 Mach, 94% the speed of sound. Now they're going to take these airplanes and they're going to put them in formation, and they're going to slow it down as slow as it can go. They're going to get down to about 120 miles an hour ground speed. And the high alpha is pass, is what this is called. Alpha meaning the angle of attack, and the angle of attack is the angle that the wing makes with the direction the aircraft is moving. And so the angle of attack is the desired type of a number to use when you're making approaches on these type of aircraft too, rather than worrying about airspeed. So angle of attack, a very, very important part of flying tactical jets in the Navy and Marine Corps. Watch now as number 6 is just hanging his airplane right on the power of those two General Electric 404 engines, and he's just hanging in the sky there, strictly on the power of the 2 engines, flying right on the edge of the envelope. From the left front now, this will be the delta. Maneuvering delta is the maneuver known. It's done in the flat shows. And you'll notice as they start to approach the center line, he'll start a turn. He'll make a big turn around, and you'll be able to watch all 6 of these aircraft maneuvering like they're almost welded together. The maneuvering delta. One of the singular maneuvers that's very, very important for these guys is called the delta breakout. Watch as they approach show center. Boss will say, ready break, and you'll see all the guys go out in a different direction. There's the ready break. This maneuver they performed over Mount Rushmore just earlier this year. They've also done it over the Washington Monument. They've done it over the top of Disneyland. It's pretty much their signature way to end up the show before they come back around and land.
Gives me chills. I love that maneuver.
Yeah. This is what they call a pitch-up break. These guys don't come in at pattern altitude. They come in lower, and they do a high G maneuver. Watch his boss, as soon as he hits center point, he'll start his break. And he'll say, boss braking, and then 2 braking, 3 braking, and watch as they pull the aircraft into a really tight G turn to get them onto the downwind leg. While they're on the downwind leg, that's when they're going to be doing all their pre-landing checks. You're going to see guys that are make sure their gears down, flaps are selected correctly, and all the other stuff is ready for landing. And the other thing that they might do if they were landing on an aircraft carrier course is drop the arresting hook. That'd be a very, very important part of the whole deal if you're going to land on a carrier. All these carrier approaches, or all these landings that they make, by the way, are pretty much field carrier landing practices. Basically what they're doing, you notice that they do not try to flare the landing to make it smooth. They maintain a constant angle of attack all the way to touchdown, which means it's a pretty violent touchdown. But this is what you have to do if you're going to capture a wire on board an aircraft carrier. If you tried to flare and float, you would never be able to catch a wire. No. We just straight into the ground at the same constant rate of angle of attack and rate of descent.
I think I noticed in this clip that number 6 did a little bit of aero braking there as he after landing. Is that common? It's
not common in the United States Navy or Air Force. I mean, United States Navy or Marine Corps, but it's very, very common in the United States Air Force. Yes, they aerodynamic brake their aircraft regularly. Blue Angel number 1, he's his first year as a commanding officer, the boss, Commander Brian Kesselring. Blue Angel number 2, Finishing his second year now as a member of the team, Lieutenant Commander James Haley.
No flare there?
No, sir. Straight into touchdown. Number 3, joined the team this year, or last year actually, represents the United States Marine Corps, Major Frank Zestapel.
Good Marine landing.
Last year, this fellow flew Blue Angel number 3. This year, they moved him into the slot. This is his second and final year as a member of the team. Lieutenant Commander Jim Cox. Blue Angel number 5 has an interesting thing. This is actually his 4th year as a member of the team, having spent 3 before as 7, 6, and 5, but he spent 1 more extra year here as number 5 in order to keep the team whole. Lieutenant Commander Brandon Hempler, also the Squadron Operations Officer. Well, he's doing a little of it there, that aerodynamic braking you're talking about. That's exactly right, yeah. I'll have to chastise him then. Blue Angel number 6 joined the team 2 years ago. He was the number 7 narrator last year. This year flying as opposing solo, Lieutenant Commander Kerry Rookoff. So that's the 2020 team, folks, and they're a wonderful bunch of guys. It's a shame we're not getting to see more of them. The other thing we really miss are those autograph sessions. They would come into the museum for us, right, in the atrium, or in the Blue Angel atrium, and sit down and meet everybody face to face and be able to sign autographs for their memorabilia. And just really neat to be able to watch these guys when they're personable people that they are when they're dealing with the public. One thing that's really fun is to watch the young kids when they come in here. Their eyes just light up when they get near the table.
Just so you know, this is the perspective you would have as a museum visitor watching the air show from the flight line. We were actually at the bleachers at the flight line. Number 7 is going to give us a little smoke wave.
Yeah, that's actually number 5. He's into number 7 jet. Notice the 7 jet. It's a 2-seater. Right. So the Blues have something like 8 single-seaters and 3 2-seaters there. Right. That's the aircraft that number 7 normally uses when he goes out in an advanced party before any of the show sessions and what have you. Well, so folks, that's it. As best as we can tell you about what's going on in the cockpit sometimes. It's really kind of fun. There's some great videos out there. If you ever get a chance to do some hunting around on maybe YouTube or what have you to find some Blue Angel videos, it's really well worth watching.
Well, start with ours.
Yes, start with ours. Absolutely.
No, we really appreciate you coming out and going through the maneuvers with us. I hope it was informative. I know it was informative for me. And we hope you are glad to have tuned in for today's show, and we'll try to bring you more in the future.